Good afternoon. Phil Lindeman with your Krystal 93 News from Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery. Keystone is yet another step closer to becoming a town. Just yesterday, a district judge approved Keystone's request for incorporation. This paves the way for the biggest test yet, a vote by the people of Keystone. If approved by residents, Keystone is almost guaranteed town status. Election day will be announced by January 2nd. The election itself must happen by mid-April. Silverthorne Town Council is voting on a cap for short-term rentals at tonight's meeting, and at least one local real estate broker says you should pay attention.
If you love short-term rentals, if you hate short-term rentals, I just think it's really important that people show up and they speak their mind and they know what rights they are giving away.
That was broker L.B. Wilson. Silverthorne has 280 STR licenses, the fewest in Summit. A yes vote tonight sets the cap at 740.
I would be really more in favor of the people voting on it instead of having elected officials vote in your favor or not.
Tonight's meeting starts at 6 at Silverthorne Town Hall. Wilson plans to be there. Frisco Town Councilman Andy Held was reflecting on a recent pedestrian death at last night's council meeting.
I hope that, we could take this tragedy and actually really discuss our transportation options and things that we could do to potentially, avoid this in the future.
A 22-year-old seasonal worker, Bautista Azzurlo of Argentina, was struck and killed by a car in a snowstorm last Tuesday. He was walking along Highway 9. Breckenridge Town Council was reflecting on COVID last night and the diligent work of Summit Public Health. Town Manager Rick Holman.
Council recognized Amy Wineland and her team at Public Health for all of the leadership that they did during COVID.
Public Health is still tracking coronavirus through the online dashboard. 7 locals in the past month have been hospitalized for COVID. No one in Summit has died from the bug in weeks. In Eagle County, 1 person died in the past 2 weeks. Men in their 30s and 60s are the most likely to catch COVID right now. This week on the State of Summit.
What this program is really for is somebody who is house rich and cash poor. They've lived here a long time, they've built up a lot of equity, but now they need a major repair and they don't have the cash flow. And so as a result, they're going to sell their house and we lose that member of our community.
That was Frisco Councilman Andrew Aronson explaining the need behind a possible new loan program for home improvements.
It's called a silent second mortgage. If they've got the equity, let's utilize that to help them stay here at very little expense to the town, because in the end, we're going to get our money back.
Councilwoman Jessie Burley likes the idea, but wonders why there cannot be 2 programs for market rate and deed-restricted homeowners.
I'm not saying that we should only focus on one or the other because both are important, but I think there are some nuances to deed-restricted properties that it still doesn't incentivize them to go through the rigmarole of this loan.
Town staff is working on details now, like who is eligible and how much cash is available. Tune in again next week for the State of Summit on Krystal 93. Avalanche danger is considerable at and above treeline in Summit County. Danger is considerable at every elevation in the Vail area. Backcountry travelers have recently triggered large and deadly slides from above, below, and even hundreds of feet away. No reports of any full burials or serious injuries. Use caution. In sports, the Nuggets play the Wizards tonight at 7. And in local sports, today was opening round of qualifiers at the Toyota Grand Prix at Copper, where Aussie Olympian Scotty James was the top qualifier for men's halfpipe, ahead of Swiss rider Jan Scheer and American Lucas Foster. Also making the cut for finals was occasional Breck local Taylor Gold. Missing the cut was Dillon's Chase Blackwell. For ladies snowboard halfpipe, Canada's Elizabeth Hosking qualified first, ahead of Japan's Mitsuki Ono and American Maddie Mastro. On the big air jump, young French skier Timothy Sevignon was top qualifier, ahead of Norway's Berk Ruud and Sweden's Oliver Magnusson. 4 Americans also made the cut. For the ladies, it was Tess Ledoux of France finishing first. Just 1 American, Grace Henderson, made finals. Qualifiers continue tomorrow with snowboard big air and free ski halfpipe. Phil Lindeman with your Krystal 93 News from Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery.